so it is probably shocking to no one that someone with the word nerd in their channel name used to read a lot of manga. It has been a while since I've been up to date on what the cool new manga are. Most of what I read is just me rereading Fullmetal Alchemist because it's my favorite manga ever. Or at least that was the case until August, when I picked up 3 new manga titles, plus one that I had kind of discovered a few months before and have been trying out. Hello, my lovely friends, it's Margaret. Welcome back to the channel. As it turns out, when you do a readathon that requires you to read a lot of books really fast, you're gonna pick up a whole lot of manga. So they get their own dedicated video. If you are looking for all of the other books that I read, don't worry, I will be talking about those in a later video, but I wanted to do just a video focusing on all of the manga that I read, since reading more manga is something that I'm trying to get back into my life. The first manga that we're going to be talking about is Soul Eater by Atsushi Okubo. Soul Eater follows a group of teens. Some of them are weapons meisters, and then you also have the weapons who can be human, but can also be weapons. These kids are all in training, trying to fight against basically the forces of evil. In this particular volume, we are following Maka and Soul as they are dealing with the fallout from a traumatic experience that they went through. This is part of a project where I am reading through the first 5 volumes of Soul Eater just to see how I feel about this. I gave volume 4 3 stars. It's been kind of up and down for me with this series. I wasn't terribly impressed by the first volume, but then volumes 2 and 3 were a little bit better. I felt like volume 4 was kind of a step backwards in some of the things that I saw improving in volumes 2 and 3. However, I have been told by people who've read it that it does get more nuanced as we go into the series, and that some of the issues that I was having aren't as much of an issue later on in the series. I am enjoying the greater plot line that is kind of starting to reveal itself as we go through these volumes. We really started to see that pick up in volumes 2 and then volume 3 especially. This continues on in that vein. There's a lot that's like, just, I have a feeling that we're going to be going kind of in a large governmental corruption kind of vein. In this volume especially, we start to see that there are cracks and flaws in the system that these kids have been brought up in, and they haven't quite started to put those pieces together, but you as the reader, knowing some of the stuff going on in the background and knowing some of the stuff that they are not privy to, are starting to see some of those pieces, and I can see where this story is going, and I like the direction that it is going in. I like the characters. I like this concept of having these like sentient weapons. It is always a good time when your sword talks back to you. However, I also had like a major issue in the first volume with objectification, and then basically just like sexual assault of a minor being played off as a joke that happens in the first volume. And it is a very common joke when you are talking about teenage boys and older women, but it bugged me in that volume. We saw some of that come back in this volume, and I'm just like, I get why this is in there. I get who they think that I don't think that it is a joke, and I think we should be teaching our boys a little bit better and giving them a better idea of what that looks like, and the fact that they also, like, it's not cool if an older woman shoves your face in her boobs. Like, that is not something that is okay for her to do. I have a problem with that. I get what people are going to say to the audience, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I have a lot more in-depth thoughts in the vlog that will be coming out at some point eventually. The other issue that I found in this one is that it felt overly silly. Like, this is a shonen manga. This is meant for 12-year-old boys. They are very silly. Trust me, I have read Naruto. And I don't know how much, there were just some jokes that were like really, like, not bad, like not harmful, but weird in a way that I was just like, there might be something culturally that is not translating that I am not getting because I don't have that cultural context, but also it's like some of them felt a little bit like this is an adult going, oh, this is what kids will think is funny, and I'm just like, this is very odd. After that, I read volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Toilet Bound Hanako-kun by Aida Iro. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun follows a high schooler named Nene. In this one, there is a ghost named Hanako that has been cursed to inhabit the 3rd floor girls' toilets. And he's also known to be able to grant wishes. Nene goes up there to try and get a wish granted. Through a rather unfortunate turn of events, she does get a wish granted by Hanako, but that does leave her bound to the ghost, who has his own plans for what he would like Nene to do. I gave the first one 3 stars, and then the rest I believe got 4, like all of the rest I got 4 stars. For some reason, volume 2 was not entered in my bookly. Don't ask me why, I don't know why, I'll have to fix that. I found this to be very fun and interesting. It's like this really great kind of mixture between the silly and the serious. If you got someone who is really good at these more comedy mangas, they are able to find, and you know, they have those humorous moments, but still have those very serious, nuanced moments as well. It's like not all fun and games, but like the fun and games are the main part. I really enjoyed going through each of these volumes, getting to know these different urban legends, getting to know the kind of system at this school and the hierarchy and all of that, and get an idea of how urban legends change with how we talk about them. In this, that's literally being translated, like we're seeing the effects of that. Like that doesn't necessarily happen with real life urban legends, obviously, because magic does not exist, unfortunately, or fortunately, it depends. This also has a really big emphasis on exploring what is right and wrong, what is good and evil, and how really questioning your understanding of who fits into those categories. I think we're going to see a lot more of that as we go further in the series, really examining, okay, but who are the good guys? Then I read volume 1 and 2 of spyxfamily by Tatsuya Endo. Spyxfamily is following Twilight, Anya, and Yoru. Twilight is a spy, and he is trying to get close to this very important figure in the government. However, said figure is very paranoid, and the only way that Twilight can kind of see as a viable way to get in this person's vicinity is to find a small child, to befriend this person's child, and get access to them that way. Problem is, Twilight does not have a child. He ends up adopting Anya, who is a telepath, and then when it turns out that he has to produce a wife for the meeting with the school, he ends up making a deal with Yoru, who is an assassin, which he does not know. For their own reasons, they just need each other, and so they strike up this deal to kind of have this fake marriage. This was by far my favorite that I read during the Amazing Read. A lot of these I ended up reading for the Face-Off weekend. You can see my vlog for that if you are interested. I gave both of these 4 stars. I really had a good time with this series. I'm very intrigued. I like the relationships that are being built as we're going through this really just like wacky, oddball story. This is like Shonen Jump at its finest. This is what this has a lot of the things that I enjoy about like the parallels that can be drawn between this and Full Metal Alchemist. This is obviously a little bit different. We're working with spies, but we're also working with this it's very like Cold War-esque, where we have the East and the West, and it's kind of feeling like it's giving that East versus West Germany vibe, which I feel is a very popular kind of setting, or the kind of like Germany in the 40s and then 50s and 60s seem to be very popular settings for some of these more political-based manga. But that makes sense because the Cold War was kind of the height of what we think of as spy fiction. So that makes sense for this. Definitely worth all of the hype that you have been hearing about it. Like, it is. This one, I walked away from that weekend knowing that I wanted to read and own all of the volumes of this manga that exist. It has a lot of the things that I like in it. It has the found family trope. It has this very kind of like, not marriage, but relationship that you think these two people couldn't, like people in their lives, like these two people could, but you as the reader can be like, no, they absolutely work. It's kind of fun trying to see Twilight and Yor navigating this fake marriage that they have both come into for different reasons. There's a fantastic use of secrets and how like they are keeping these secrets from each other, but also able to be honest with each other in a way that they are not able to be honest with other people that they're keeping these same secrets from. And then the way that Anya, who is a mind reader, she knows what they're thinking, and she knows both of their secrets, but she hasn't given it away because she's does not want to be sent back to the orphanage. She wants to stay with these two people. She's like, this is my family now. I want to keep it together. The way she is playing Twilight and Yor off of each other is just, kid, you are smarter than you think you are. I'm enjoying it. It's having a good time. It is a good time. The final manga that we are here to talk about is Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shirahame. I read volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4. In Witch Hat Atelier, we are following Coco. She is a young girl who is interested in magic, but has always understood it to be something that you just have to be born with the talent for, until one day she finds out that it is actually a skill that you can learn. So she starts trying to teach herself how to do magic. Unfortunately, she stumbled upon a very dangerous spell that has consequences for her loved ones. This brings her into contact with the witch Kifri, who agrees to take her on as an apprentice so she can learn what spell she did in order to undo that spell and free her family. I had a great time with this series. I also gave all 4 of these 4 stars. It didn't quite like hit me the way that Spy Family, like there wasn't that instant connection, but it is a very, very interesting story. This series at its heart is really, really about growing up. We're following this young girl that because of this thing that she has done, staying with the people that she loves, it's not possible. And so she is having to leave, and she's really having to grow up as she is catching up with these other girls that are apprentices with Kifri and trying to learn the different magic things. There's a lot of interpersonal relationships that are being talked about. Hold on, you're falling. Okay, we're just gonna hold up volume 1. There are a lot of different interpersonal relationship things that are being talked about as she is thrown into this group of 3 other girls who have been together and studying together for a little bit of time. One of the girls is very friendly, very gregarious, and Barry, like, brings her in, but the other 2, she does have to kind of, they have to get a moment to warm up to her. They don't necessarily think that she belongs there because she is not someone who has grown up in this world, and so she doesn't have a lot of the inherent knowledge that they grow up with, and she's having to play catch up, and in some ways that does make her a bit dangerous. It also makes her someone who is able to think outside of the box in ways that they may not necessarily do. And so friendship and making friends and getting along with people are big, big themes in this. We're also, like, self-confidence is a big theme in this. This is very, very much aimed at that's kind of 12, 13, 14-year-old age range. There's also some natural talk about consequences and the consequences of your action, and then there is some stuff we haven't quite seen what's going on, but like there is this back plot line with whatever witch gave Coco the book where she found the spell that did the thing. There's a lot of like political stuff that we, because we're following a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, something like that, because we're following this like preteen or young teenager, we're only getting glimpses of it because we are getting pieces of it as the adult characters interact, but we haven't seen a lot of adult characters so far. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background as Kifri is trying to have Coco help him find the people that gave her this spell, and also trying to help her like undo this spell, and it's just, it's very complicated, and I haven't quite gotten the thread of what, but I'm very intrigued by what is potentially down the road from the little puzzle pieces that we have been given so far in the series. I also think that there might be like a cute little romance that we might see as we go. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a time jump a little bit later on in this series, but that little relationship is just fun. It's cute. I am hoping to see where that, like, I hope that goes somewhere. Again, if you, based on what you've heard me say about manga and stuff, if you have any recommendations, I would love to see those recommendations down below in the comments. You're also welcome to let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are on them, especially when it comes, like, if you've read Soul Eater and our tastes kind of align with like what we like to see in books and the things that we pay attention to in books and the things that bug us, like, let me know, does it get better? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I will have the vlog I mentioned for Face Off linked right over here if you want to check that out, see any of my other thoughts that I had. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye! We're off script. We're going unscripted. God, D&D is so much easier than filming videos.